headache. 2. Stomachache. 3. Toothache. 4. Backache. 5. Earache. 6. Cold. 7. Fever. 8. Cough. 9. Sore throat. How do you feel today? Listen to the model.
How do you feel today?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a headache.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do exercises 1 through 8. You will hear the correct line after you speak. We'll begin. 1.
How do you feel today?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a stomachache.
I'm sorry to hear that.
2.
How do you feel today?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a toothache.
I'm sorry to hear that.
3.
How do you feel today? Not so good. What's the matter? I have a backache. I'm sorry to hear that.
4.
How do you feel today? Not so good. What's the matter? I have an earache. I'm sorry to hear that.
5.
How do you feel today?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a cold.
I'm sorry to hear that.
6.
How do you feel today?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a fever.
I'm sorry to hear that.
7.
How do you feel today?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a cough.
I'm sorry to hear that.
8.
How do you feel today?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a sore throat.
I'm sorry to hear that.
How to say it. Saying how you feel. Listen.
How do you feel today?
I feel great.
I feel fine.
I feel okay.
I'm glad to hear that.
How do you feel today?
So-so. Not so good.
I feel terrible.
I'm sorry to hear that.
What did you do yesterday? Listen to the model.
What did you do yesterday? I worked.
Do exercises 1 through 20. You will hear the correct line after you speak. We'll begin. 1.
What did you do yesterday?
I cooked.
2.
What did you do yesterday?
I washed my car.
3.
What did you do yesterday?
I fixed my bicycle.
4.
What did you do yesterday?
I brushed my teeth.
5.
What did you do yesterday?
I watched TV.
6.
What did you do yesterday?
I typed.
7.
What did you do yesterday?
I danced.
8.
What did you do yesterday?
I baked.
9.
What did you do yesterday?
I cleaned.
10.
What did you do yesterday?
I played the piano.
11.
What did you do yesterday? I yawned.
12.
What did you do yesterday?
I listened to music.
13.
What did you do yesterday?
I shaved.
14.
What did you do yesterday?
I smiled.
15.
What did you do yesterday?
I cried.
16.
What did you do yesterday?
I studied.
17.
What did you do yesterday?
I shouted.
18.
What did you do yesterday?
I rested.
19.
What did you do yesterday?
I planted flowers.
20.
What did you do yesterday?
I waited for the bus.
We cooked and cleaned and then we talked. We ate and drank and then we walked side by side.
Hi, Bob. How are you today?
I feel great.
I'm glad to hear that.
Hello, Bob. How are you today?
I feel fine.
I'm happy to hear that.
Hi, Bob. How are you doing today?
Okay,
That's good. Have a nice lunch, Bob.
thanks.
Hi, Bob. How are you doing?
So-so.
Oh, well, have a good afternoon, Bob.
Thanks, Nancy.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Not so good.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Bob, you don't look very well. Are you okay?
I feel terrible.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, see you tomorrow, Bob.
See you tomorrow, Alan.
What's the matter?
I have a headache.
I have a stomach ache.
I have a toothache.
I have a backache.
I have an earache.
I have a sore throat. I have a cold. Excuse me.
Bless you. What did you do yesterday?
I worked.
I cooked. I washed my windows.
I played cards with my friends.
I cleaned my house. I studied.
I painted my bathroom.
I planted flowers.
I waited for the plumber all day.
How does David feel? Not so good. What's the matter? He has a backache. A backache? How did he get it? He played basketball all day. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
How do you feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a stomach ache.
A stomach ache? How did you get it?
I ate cookies all afternoon.
Are you feeling okay?
Not really.
What's the matter?
I have a headache.
A headache? That's too bad. How did you get it?
I drank coffee all morning.
How are you feeling?
Not so great.
What's wrong?
I have a terrible backache.
I'm sorry to hear that. What did you do?
I sat at my desk all day today.
How do you feel today?
Awful.
What's the matter?
I have a very bad sore throat.
I'm sorry to hear that. How did you get it?
I sang all day today. And how do you feel today?
I feel great.
I'm glad to hear that.
What did you do today?
I washed my floors.
Your floors?
Yes, I washed my floors all day. What did you do today?
I cleaned my house.
Your house?
Yes, I cleaned my house all day. What did you do today?
I painted my porch.
Your porch?
Yes, I painted my porch all day. What did you do today?
I fixed my sink.
Your sink?
Yes, I fixed my sink all day.
I washed my floors.
I cleaned my house.
I painted my porch.
I fixed my sink.
We worked at home all day.
What's the matter? Listen. How does David feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
He has a backache.
A backache? How did he get it?
He played basketball all day.
Do exercises 1 through 15. You will hear the correct line after you speak. 1. We'll begin.
How does Brian feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
He has a sore throat.
A sore throat? How did he get it?
He talked on the telephone all day.
2. We'll begin.
How does Linda feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
She has a backache.
A backache? How did she get it?
She danced all day.
3. We'll begin.
How do you feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a headache.
A headache? How did you get it?
I studied English all day.
4. We'll begin.
How does Gary feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
He has an earache.
An earache? How did he get it?
He listened to music all day.
5. We'll begin.
How does Maria feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
She has a cold.
A cold? How did she get it?
She waited for the bus all day.
Six. We'll begin.
How does Charlie feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
He has a sore throat.
A sore throat? How did he get it?
He shouted all day.
7. We'll begin.
How does Mrs. Clark feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
She has a headache.
A headache? How did she get it?
Her baby cried all day.
8. You begin.
How do you feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have an earache.
An earache? How did you get it?
My dog barked all day.
9. You begin.
How does Carlos feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
He has a backache.
A backache? How did he get it?
He planted flowers all day.
10. We'll begin.
How does Daniel feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
He has a toothache.
A toothache? How did he get it?
He ate candy all day.
11. We'll begin.
How does Jennifer feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
She has a sore throat.
A sore throat? How did she get it?
She sang all day.
"12. We'll begin.
How do you feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a toothache.
A toothache? How did you get it?
I drank soda all day.
13. We'll begin.
How does Sarah feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
She has a backache.
A backache? How did she get it?
She sat all day.
14. You begin.
How do you feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a stomach ache.
A stomach ache? How did you get it?
I ate cookies all day.
15. You begin.
How does Tim feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
He has a backache.
A backache? How did he get it?
He rode his bicycle all day.
The Wilsons' Party. Listen. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson invited all their friends and neighbors to a party last night. They stayed home all day yesterday and prepared for the party. In the morning, the Wilsons worked outside. Their daughter Margaret cleaned the yard. Their son Bob painted the fence. Mrs. Wilson planted flowers in the garden, and Mr. Wilson fixed their broken front steps. In the afternoon, the Wilsons worked inside the house. Margaret washed the floors and vacuumed the living room carpet. Bob dusted the furniture and cleaned the basement. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson stayed in the kitchen all afternoon. He cooked spaghetti for dinner, and she baked apple pies for dessert. The Wilsons finished all their work at 6 o'clock. Their house looked beautiful, inside and out. The Wilsons' guests arrived at about 7:30. After they arrived, they all sat in the living room. They ate cheese and crackers, drank lemonade, and talked. Some people talked about their children. Other people talked about the weather. And everybody talked about how beautiful the Wilsons' house looked, inside and out. The Wilsons served dinner in the dining room at 9 o'clock. Everybody enjoyed the meal very much. They liked Mr. Wilson's spaghetti, and they loved Mrs. Wilson's apple pie. In fact, everybody asked for seconds. After dinner, everybody sat in the living room again. First, Bob Wilson played the piano and his sister Margaret sang. Then, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson showed a video of their trip to Hawaii. After that, they turned on the music and everybody danced. As you can see, the Wilsons' guests enjoyed the party very much. In fact, nobody wanted to go home. Listening. Listen and choose the word you hear. 1.
We plant flowers in our garden in the spring.
2.
I worked at the office all day.
3.
They studied English all morning.
4.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones sit in their living room all day.
5.
They drank lemonade all summer.
6.
I waited for the bus all morning.
7.
They finished their work at 5 o'clock.
8.
We invited our friends to the party.
9.
I eat cheese and crackers.
10.
She cleaned her apartment all afternoon.
11.
We wash our clothes at the laundromat.
12.
He watched TV all evening.
13. Pronunciation. Past tense endings. Listen. Then say it.
I cooked, I cleaned, and I dusted. I worked, I played, and I planted flowers.
Say it. Then listen.
I typed, I studied, and I painted. I talked, I cried, and I shouted.
End of chapter 15.